Hello everyone, and welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about 3 stories where a single man, dozens of men, and thousands of men met a dangerous fate simply because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And as the story unfolds, you will realize that history holds places where merely being there could change destiny. A word of warning, as always, for the viewers, because this story is tied to events of the past that still unsettle those who hear them. But this time, instead of China, we move to a very ancient land, a place where the powers, fears, and conspiracies of the years 1890 and earlier breathed together. The story begins in an empire, a vast and sprawling realm known at the time as the Land of Veronia. Its ruler was Arthur Valen, age 42. Arthur was a powerful but stern-tempered king. He united different regions under a single banner, reformed laws, standardized currency and writing, and built roads and fortresses. On the surface, everything seemed strong, but beneath, his rule was founded on fear. In Arthur's court was a renowned scholar, Elias More, age 58. Elias often said that if power is driven by fear, one day that same fear becomes rebellion. But Arthur disliked such words. Soon, books were burned, some scholars were exiled, and silence filled the court. Time passed, and a strange fear began to grow in Arthur's heart. He felt someone wanted to take his life. In that fear, he summoned an alchemist, Marcus Duval, age 47, who claimed he could create a potion granting long life. For months, Marcus experimented. Finally, one night, he presented a glowing liquid in a vial. The court fell silent as Arthur drank it, but no one knew that the liquid was actually poison. Within days, news spread that the king had died. The throne passed to his son, Leonard Valen, age 19. Young, inexperienced, and easily influenced by court advisors, real power fell into the hands of a cunning courtier, Sebastian Crowe, age 36. Meanwhile, in the eastern part of the empire, there was a city called Drayan Hall, whose people already despised the empire. There, a rebel leader was rising, Caleb Ron, age 33. Caleb claimed the empire ruled by fear and must end. Within months, the rebellion took shape. Hundreds joined, not just dozens. Eventually, a large battle was fought near the city fields. The royal army was led by General Harvey Stone, age 45, commanding thousands of soldiers. But the rebels were no less numerous, and everything in this battle was about to change. As the fight intensified, the rebel forces, hungry and tired, faced a critical decision. Caleb made a shocking command. He ordered all remaining food to be burned. The soldiers looked at him in disbelief, but he said, "The next meal will come only after we defeat the enemy." Those words sparked unusual zeal in the army. They attacked with full force. Other nearby rebel groups joined in, and soon, the royal army was forced to retreat. General Harvey sent a message to the court requesting reinforcements. But Sebastian Crowe, sitting in the capital, suspected the general might rebel. So he withheld aid. And that was the moment everything changed. The royal army was surrounded. The battle lasted for days. Thousands of soldiers died. Nearly 200,000 soldiers became prisoners of the rebels. It seemed like a victory, but a problem arose. The rebels had no food left, they had burned their rations. Now, they had to keep even the prisoners alive. Days later, Caleb devised a plan history still whispers about in silence. The prisoners were gathered in a vast field. Among them was a young boy who had come with his father, Adam Clark, age 14. Fear filled his eyes, but he stood quietly. The rebels ordered everyone to dig the ground. Thousands dug, tirelessly. The pit grew so deep that when people stood inside, they kept looking up. At that moment, a strange silence spread among those on the field's edge. All eyes turned to Adam, as if suddenly realizing that a new chapter of history was about to begin. Caleb watched from a distance, expressionless. Then he slowly raised his hand, and in the next moment, a murmur arose among the soldiers standing in the field. Because what was about to happen would forever change the story of this empire. And this was just the beginning. A strange hush fell over the field. The wind seemed to stop. Thousands stood along the edges of the massive pit, with rows of prisoners in between, including soldiers, civilians, and the boy everyone's eyes were fixed on, Adam Clark, age 14. Even Adam did not understand why people were staring at him like this. His father, Nathan Clark, age 39, standing beside him, gently placed a hand on his shoulder. He too was injured, but his gaze kept returning to the rebel leader, Caleb Ron. At that moment, a man with Caleb stepped forward. His name was Lucas Warren, age 41. He had been with Caleb since the start of the rebellion and often remained silent, but when he spoke, people listened. He surveyed the field, then quietly spoke to Caleb. Caleb considered for a few moments, then ordered that the prisoners not be lowered into the pit just yet. The rebels were surprised. Moments ago, everyone expected the horrific decision they had anticipated. But Caleb's gaze kept returning to the boy. He seemed to be thinking, or perhaps recalling an old event. Nearby, Daniel Hart, age 27, a young soldier in the rebel army, whispered to his companion that something was happening against the usual course. Normally, Caleb did not hesitate in making decisions. Clouds slowly gathered in the sky. Evening approached, and the light of burning torches spread across the field. Finally, Caleb gave a new order. The prisoners would remain there overnight, and a decision would be made in the morning. The rebels were astonished. During the rebellion, such a large decision had never been postponed. Night deepened. Prisoners, exhausted, sat on the ground. Rebel soldiers stood guard. In the distance, the faint sounds of horses could be heard. That night, a strange incident occurred. Adam suddenly awoke, sensing that someone was watching him. He looked around and saw Lucas Warren standing across the pit, staring directly at him. For several moments, their eyes met. Lucas slowly approached. He asked Adam, "What is your name? And how did you get here?" Adam replied in a soft voice, "My name is Adam, I came with my father in the army." Lucas fell silent, then looked at Nathan Clark, who was semi-conscious. Then he turned and walked toward Caleb's tent. Inside the tent, Caleb discussed a secret spy of Sebastian who was reportedly among the rebels. Lucas entered the tent and spoke. "Perhaps it's not only prisoners here, there's someone else whose presence could change everything." Caleb looked surprised. Lucas whispered, "That boy, Adam, there is something unusual about him." Caleb remained silent for a few moments. Outside, the wind began to blow stronger. The torches flickered. He decided he would speak with the boy before morning. But then, a commotion erupted from a corner of the field. Guards panicked, for someone tried to escape in the darkness. The next moment revealed how intertwined the fate of everyone in the field truly was. Night grew deeper. Mist descended on the field. Prisoners sat silently, while unease spread among the guards because moments earlier, a man had tried to flee in the dark. Soldiers ran to the source of the noise. On the ground lay a man, Martin Gray, age 32. He was a prisoner, now clearly terrified. He was brought before Caleb's tent. Caleb Ron, age 44, stepped out, his face hardened like any battle-hardened leader. He looked at Martin and asked softly, "Why were you running?" Martin said nothing at first. His breath came fast. Then he spoke words that stunned everyone present. "I was not running, I was looking for someone." Caleb raised an eyebrow. "For whom?" Martin looked at the prisoners and then at Adam Clark, age 14. For a moment, silence fell again. That was the boy everyone had been watching since evening. Lucas Warren, age 41, sensed something was wrong. Martin whispered, "He is not an ordinary boy, you don't know who he is." Whispers spread among prisoners. Even some rebel soldiers exchanged glances. Caleb ordered Adam and his father, Nathan Clark, age 39, to be brought to the tent. When Adam was made to stand, he was frightened but did not let go of his father's hand. Caleb studied the boy's face as if trying to recognize something. Lightning flashed in the distance, illuminating Adam for a brief moment, and Lucas recalled an old memory. Years ago, the war had not even begun. In 1893, there was a small town with a man known for strange prophecies. His name was Elias Morgan, age 52. People said he sometimes spoke of those who would appear in major events in the coming years. Once, he had mentioned a boy who would emerge during a great rebellion and change everything. At that time, no one took it seriously. But now, in the night, Lucas, standing in the field, remembered those words. He approached Caleb and whispered, "I think, we should not make a hasty decision." Caleb asked, "Why?" Lucas replied, "Because perhaps this boy is not just a prisoner, he is the reason we are all here." Caleb remained silent for a few moments. The people in the field did not yet know what was happening inside the tent, but they sensed that something big was about to happen. Then came another report. Guards saw a long line of torches along the mountain path, as if a large army was approaching. The atmosphere in the tent shifted. If it was indeed an army, time was running out. Caleb had to decide, but this time, the decision was not only about the prisoners, but also about the boy, whose presence continued to reveal a new secret with every passing moment. News spread across the field, and tension rose. Mist thickened. The morning light began to appear, and the sound of horses from the mountains grew clearer. Caleb Ron, age 44, observed everything from a high point. His gaze kept returning to Adam Clark, age 14. Lucas Warren, age 41, came to him and said softly, "The army is close, we must decide." Caleb observed the field for a few moments, then gave an unexpected command: the prisoners were to be immediately moved. The rebels were surprised. Everyone expected the prisoners to remain or face harsh punishment. Caleb summoned Henry Collins, age 36, an expert in maps and routes, and ordered the prisoners to be moved through forest paths to the rear area. Prisoners formed lines, confused about the sudden change. Martin Gray, age 32, was restrained and constantly scanning for an opportunity. Adam and Nathan Clark were with the prisoners, but Caleb personally intervened. He said to Adam, "You will stay with us." Nathan protested, "My son will not go anywhere." Caleb replied firmly, "If you want him to survive, he must come with me." Tension rose. From the mountains, the sound of horses grew louder. Caleb still looked at Adam as if seeking confirmation. Then he quietly asked, "If you are truly who people say, tell me, what is about to happen today?" Adam looked at the field silently for a few moments. The wind picked up, and tree branches swayed. Then he spoke softly, "Today, no one will win, but a decision will be made that will change everything." Lucas looked at Caleb. At that moment, a commotion came from the other edge of the field. Martin Gray, who had tried to escape, appeared among the enemy lines. Whispers spread. Everyone realized he had given inside information. Sebastian said with a smile, "See, your own people do not trust you." Caleb's soldiers changed expressions, but Caleb showed no reaction. He looked at Adam, then back at Sebastian, and said something that stunned both sides. "This war may end today, but on one condition." Sebastian raised his eyebrows. "What condition?" Caleb pointed at Adam. Everyone's eyes turned to the boy again. Sebastian studied him carefully, as if hearing about him for the first time. Caleb said, "If you want to know why this rebellion began, and where it will end, first, listen to this boy." Silence fell for a moment. Sebastian said in disbelief, "A boy? The secret of your entire rebellion is in a boy." Then he sensed something. Behind him, several old soldiers' faces changed, as if they recognized Adam. A gust of wind blew, torches flickered. Adam took a step forward. Thousands of eyes were on him. He was about to speak. But just before he could, a rider appeared from the mountain path, bringing news that could change everything. The rider galloped into the field. His clothes were covered in dust and blood. He was Elias Moore, age 36, arriving from the northern frontier outpost. He stopped in front of Sebastian, age 47, and dismounted. He took a deep breath and said, "Sir, we must speak immediately." Sebastian demanded harshly, "There is a war about to happen. What news do you bring?" Elias scanned the people in the field, then his eyes fell on Adam Clark, age 14. His face showed astonishment. "How is he here?" Caleb Ron, age 44, immediately asked. "You know him?" Elias hesitated, then whispered, "Yes, and if the truth is revealed to everyone, perhaps there will be no war today." Whispers spread across the field. Sebastian, angry, said, "Do not beat around the bush. Tell it straight." Elias took a deep breath. 3 days ago, at the northern fortress, an old record was discovered. It dated back to when this empire had not even fully formed. Some names were listed, and one name surprised us all. He pointed slowly at Adam. "That name belongs to this boy's family." Everyone exchanged glances. Nathan Clark, age 39, was confused. "That's impossible, we are just an ordinary family." Elias nodded. "No, you were never told the truth." Sebastian's gaze sharpened. "What do you mean?" Elias said, "The empire's founder had an heir, who disappeared years ago. Power shifted, wars happened, and history was rewritten." An eerie silence fell over the field. Lucas Warren, age 41, asked softly, "What are you saying?" Elias replied, "This boy may be the last living trace of that bloodline." Whispers erupted among both armies. Sebastian said angrily, "This is nonsense." But some older soldiers remained silent, as if recalling something about Adam. Caleb looked at Adam. "Have you ever felt something unusual about yourself?" Adam paused, then whispered, "My grandfather always said one day people would recognize us, but I never took it seriously." At that moment, an old soldier stepped forward. Harold Black, age 62, veteran of many wars, looked at Adam and said softly, "I've seen this face before, years ago, in a picture." Sebastian's face changed. Now everyone in the field realized this was not just about war. This was a matter of history. Thunder rumbled in the sky, and a cold wind swept across. Adam took a step forward. "If my bloodline is truly part of this history, we must know the truth of what really happened."